Hey, sweet listening squirrels. I am so sorry when I thought about reading. I already had my jammies on and my teeth out. Yeah, I'm wearing the same thing I wore yesterday. This is my best shirt and sweater. Gotta go to the pain clinic doc this morning. Just the regular. Chapter 3 is called... Doggone, I forgot my tea. Oh well. It's called a setback. The moment was not quite so triumphant as it ought to have been. To begin with, the resources of Tommy's pockets were somewhat limited. In the end, the fare was managed, the lady recollecting a plebeian 2p, and the driver, still holding the varied assortment of coins in his hand, was prevailed upon to move on, which he did after one last hoarse demand as to what the gentleman thought he was giving him. "I think you've given him too much, Tommy," said Tuppence innocently. "I fancy he wants to give some of it back." It was probably this remark which induced the driver to move away. "Well," said Mr. Beresford, at length able to relieve his feelings, "what the dickens did you want to take a taxi for?" "I was afraid I might be late and keep you waiting," said Tuppence gently. "Afraid you might be late? Oh, Lord, I give up," said Mr. Beresford. "And really and truly," continued Tuppence, opening her eyes very wide, "I haven't got anything smaller than a 5-pound note." "You did that part of it very well, old bean, but all the same the fellow wasn't taken in, not for a moment." "No," said Tuppence thoughtfully, "he didn't believe it. That's the curious part about speaking the truth. No one does believe it. I found that out this morning. Now let's go to lunch. How about the Savoy?" Tommy grinned. "How about the Ritz? On second thoughts, I prefer the Piccadilly. It's nearer. We shan't have to take another taxi. Come along." "Come along." "Is this a new brand of humor, or is your brain really unhinged?" inquired Tommy. "Your last supposition is the correct one. I have come into money, and the shock has been too much for me. For that particular form of mental trouble, an eminent physician recommends unlimited hors d'oeuvres, lobster a l'Americaine, chicken Newburg, and something Melba. It's peach in French, I guess. Let's go and get them." "Tuppence, old girl, what has really come over you?" "Oh, unbelieving one," Tuppence wrenched open her bag. "Look here, and here, and here." "Great Jehoshaphat, my dear girl, don't wave fishers aloft like that." "They're not fishers, they're 5 times better than fishers, and this one's 10 times better." Tommy groaned. "I must have been drinking unawares. Am I dreaming, Tuppence, or do I really behold a large quantity of 5-pound notes being waved about in a dangerous fashion?" "Even so, old king. Now will you come and have lunch?" "I'll come anywhere, but what have you been doing? Holding up a bank?" "All in good time. What an awful place Piccadilly Circus is. There's a huge bus bearing down on us. It would be too horrible if they killed the 5-pound notes." "Grill room?" inquired Tommy as they reached the opposite pavement in safety. "The other's more expensive," demurred Tuppence. "That's mere wicked, wanton extravagance. Come on below. Are you sure I can get all the things I want there? That extremely unwholesome menu you were outlining just now, of course you can, or as much as is good for you anyway." "Now tell me," said Tommy, unable to restrain his pent-up curiosity any longer as they sat in state surrounded by many hors d'oeuvres of Tuppence's dreams. Miss Cowley told him. "And the curious part of it is," she ended, "that I really did invent the name of Jane Finn. I didn't want to give my own because of poor father, in case I should get mixed up in anything shady. Perhaps that's so, said Tommy slowly, but you didn't invent it. What? No, I told you. Don't you remember I said yesterday I'd overheard two people talking about a female called Jane Finn. That's what brought the name into your mind so pat. So you did. I remember now. How extraordinary. Tuppence tailed off into silence. Suddenly she aroused herself. Tommy. Yes. What were they like, the two men you passed? Tommy frowned in an effort at remembrance. One was a big fat sort of chap, clean-shaven, I think, and dark. That's him, cried Tuppence in an ungrammatical squeal. That's Whittington. What was the other man like? I can't remember. I didn't notice him particularly. It was really the outlandish name that caught my attention. And people say that coincidences don't happen. Tuppence tackled her peach. I'm just going to call it Peach Melba happily, but Tommy had become serious. Look here, Tuppence, old girl, what is this going to lead to? More money, replied his companion. I know that. You've only got one idea in your head. What I mean is, what about the next step? How are you going to keep the game up? Oh, Tuppence laid down her spoon. You're right, Tommy. It is a bit of a poser. After all, you know, you can't bluff him forever. You're sure to slip up sooner or later. And anyway, I'm not at all sure that it isn't actionable. Blackmail, you know. Nonsense. Blackmail is saying you'll tell unless you are given money. Now, there's nothing I could tell because I don't really know anything. Said Tommy doubtfully. Well, anyway, what are we going to do? Whittington was in a hurry to get rid of you this morning, but next time he'll want to know something more before he parts with his money. He'll want to know how much you know and where you got your information from and a lot of other things that you can't cope with. What are you going to do about it? Tuppence frowned severely. We must think. Order some Turkish coffee, Tommy. Stimulating to the brain. Oh dear, what a lot I have eaten. You have made rather a hog of yourself, so have I for that matter, but I flatter myself that my choice of dishes was more judicious than yours. 2 coffees, this was to the waiter, 1 Turkish, 1 French. Tuppence sipped her coffee with a deeply reflective air and snubbed Tommy when he spoke to her. Be quiet, I'm thinking. Shades of Pelmanicism, said Tommy, and relapsed into silence. There, said Tuppy at last. I've got a plan. Obviously, what we've got to do is find out more about it all. Tommy applauded. Don't jeer. We can only find out through Whittington. We must discover where he lives, what he does, sleuth him, in fact. Now, I can't do it because he knows me, but he only saw you for a minute or two at Lyons. He's not likely to recognize you. After all, one young man is much like another. I repudiate that remark utterly. I'm sure my pleasing features and distinguished appearance would single me out from any crowd. My plan is this, Tuppence went on calmly. I'll go along tomorrow to put him off again like I did today. It doesn't matter if I don't get any more money at once. £50 ought to last us a few days, or even longer. You'll hang about outside. When I come out, I shan't speak to you in case he's watching. But I'll take up my stand somewhere near, and when he comes out of the building, I'll drop a handkerchief or something, and off you go. Off I go where? Follow him, of course, silly. What do you think of the idea? Sort of thing one reads about in books. I somehow feel in real life one will feel a bit of an ass standing in the street for hours with nothing to do. People will wonder what I'm up to. Not in the city. Everyone's in such a hurry. Probably no one will even notice you at all. That's the second time you've made that sort of remark. Never mind, I forgive you. Anyway, it will be rather a lark. What are you doing this afternoon? Well, said Tuppence meditatively, I had thought of hats, or perhaps silk stockings, or perhaps... Hold hard, admonished Tommy. There's a limit to 50 pounds, but let's do dinner and a show tonight at all events. Rather. The day passed pleasantly, the evening even more so. 2 of the 5-pound notes were now I can't say it. I know it, but I can't say it. Dead. Irretrievably. They met by arrangement the following morning and proceeded citywards. Tommy remained on the opposite side of the road while Tuppence plunged into the building. Tommy strolled slowly down to the end of the street, then back again. Just as he came abreast of the building, Tuppence started across the road. Tommy! Yes, what's up? The place is shut. I can't make anyone hear. That's odd, isn't it? Come up with me and let's try again. Tommy followed her as they passed the 3rd-floor landing. A young clerk came out of an office. He hesitated a moment, then addressed himself to Tuppence. Were you wanting the Gastonia glassware? Yes, please. It's closed down since yesterday afternoon. Company being wound up, they say. Not that I've ever heard of it myself, but anyway, the office is to be let. Thank you, faltered Tuppence. I suppose you don't know Mr. Whittington's address? Afraid I don't. They left rather suddenly. Thank you very much, said Tommy. Come on, Tuppence. They descended to the street again, where they gazed at one another blankly. That's torn it, said Tommy at length, and I never suspected it, waited Tuppence. Cheer up, old thing, it can't be helped. Can it, though? Tuppence's little chin shot out defiantly. Do you think this is the end? If so, you're wrong. It's just the beginning. The beginning of what? Of our adventure, Tommy. Don't you see? If they're scared enough to run away like this, it shows there must be a lot in this Jane Finn business. Well, we'll get to the bottom of it. We'll run them down. We'll be sleuths in earnest. Yes, but there's no one left to sleuth. No, that's why we have to start all over again. Lend me that bit of a pencil. Thanks. Wait a minute. Don't interrupt. There. Tuppence handed back the pencil and surveyed the piece of paper on which she had written with a satisfied eye. What's that? Advertisement. You're not going to put that thing in after all. No, it's a different one. She handed him a slip of paper. Tommy read the words on it aloud. Wanted. Any information respecting Jane Finn. Reply Y.A. That's it. And the next chapter is called Who is Jane Finn? That wasn't very long, but I do have to get to the doctor in a little bit, and I don't want to read part of a chapter. It happens that way. Y'all have a blessed day, and I hope a creative one, and I hope I get finished with that green cow. It seems like the more I do, the more it looks like there's nothing been done on it. Love y'all. Be sweet. Don't be ugly. Bye-bye.